Tell it like it is.
The 1960s were overflowing with soul, but not every great group made it into the spotlight. While Motown and Stax had their stars, there were harmonies in corner clubs, church basements, and late-night studio sessions that deserved just as much love. Today, we're revisiting the gems.
What's going on? Wanna know what's going on?
The ones who moved hearts quietly, but deeply. But before we dive in, let us know in the comments what your favorite track was that year, number 10, The Mad Lads. The Mad Lads, the soft-spoken sweethearts of Stax Records. These young men came straight out of Booker T. Washington High School in Memphis, just down the street from Soulsville, USA itself. While the label was pushing gritty Southern soul to the world, the Mad Lads carved out something gentler. Slow, warm harmonies that sounded like leaning your shoulder against someone you loved. Their breakout moment came in 1965 with Don't Have to Shop Around, a song recorded with just the right touch of innocence and longing. There's a story that the studio barely took them seriously at first. They were kids. But once those harmonies filled the room, everyone knew they were hearing something honest. You can almost imagine the vinyl spinning in a dim living room, someone humming along while thinking of the one who got away. The Mad Lads never reached the national fame of their Stax peers, but their sound helped shape the tender side of Southern soul. Today, collectors treasure their singles like quiet love letters from a time when a simple harmony could stop a heart. If that was Velvet's Soft Young Love, this next group brought a whole new flavor of romantic soul. Number 9, the Delfonics. The Delfonics, Philadelphia's early architects of tender romantic soul, before the world came to know Philly soul as a lush orchestral movement. The Delfonics were already sketching its blueprint in quiet studio corners. Formed in the early 60s by brothers William and Wilbert Hart. Along with Randy Kane, they didn't sound like the rougher Memphis scene or the polished Motown machine. Their music floated, soft falsettos, feather-light harmonies, strings that seemed to sigh. Their early tracks, like He Don't Really Love You and How Could You Call Me Baby, hinted at what was coming, even before their major 70s breakthroughs.
But this time, I'm already leaving you, yeah.
The story goes that producer Tom Bell heard William Hart's delicate vocal and instantly knew this was a sound that could change the emotional language of soul music. Listening to the Delfonics feels like stepping into warm evening air. Streetlights glowing, slow steps home, heart open and hopeful.
Let me hold you in my arms, girl, and fill you with my...
They refined the art of yearning without heartbreak, of love sung not with power, but with vulnerability. Their influence stretches quietly but deeply. The stylistics, blue magic, the moments, all follow trails the Delfonics carved. And even today, sampled by hip-hop legends, whispered in neo-soul ballads, that gentle falsetto magic remains unmistakable. If that was romantic soul that seemed floating on air, this next group brought harmony that felt like family. Number 8, the Five Stairsteps, the Five Stairsteps. The family band that felt like a warm afternoon sitting on the front porch, formed in Chicago, guided by their father Clarence Burke Sr. These brothers and sister grew up harmonizing in the living room before they ever touched the stage.
Ooh, child, things are gonna be easier.
They were kids, literally, but when they sang, you heard emotional wisdom far beyond their years. Their voices folded into one another like quilt fabric, stitched tight and familiar. Signed first to Curtis Mayfield's label, they recorded songs that glowed with gentleness.
Ooh, child, things are gonna be easier.
You Waited Too Long and World of Fantasy sounded like quiet heartbreaks whispered into a pillow. Studio insiders tell stories of how stunned engineers would be when these young teenagers stepped up to the microphone and delivered harmonies as smooth and steady as grown men who'd been on the road for decades. Long before their 1970 breakthrough OOH Child, which would later become a healing anthem for generations, the Stairsteps were already shaping the very idea of family soul. Their music carries a soft light, the feeling of being held, understood, or simply sitting close without needing words. If that felt intimate and close to home, our next group adds a Chicago flavor that's just a touch more bittersweet. Number 7, The Artistics. The Artistics. Chicago's bittersweet poets of love and longing, while the Windy City was buzzing with electric blues and rising soul stars. The Artistics were quietly weaving harmonies meant for late nights and slow dances. Formed in the early 1960s, they became part of the Chicago soul circle that moved through OK Records and Chess, rubbing shoulders with giants. Yet never quite breaking the national stage. Their most enduring moment came with 1967's I'm Gonna Miss You. Listen closely, and you'll hear a tenderness rarely found in heartbreak songs. It's not anger, not regret, but a kind of gentle acceptance.
This loneliness I just can't take.
People who were there say that when this record played slow motion at teen dances, the floor would fill, not to move fast, but to simply sway, forehead to forehead, not wanting to let go. There's a story that during sessions, producers kept urging them to sing stronger, to match the big Northern soul trend of the day. But the Artistics understood something different. Love isn't always loud. Sometimes it's a soft goodbye, a quiet look, a memory that lingers. Their influence ripples through Chicago's soul legacy. The Chi-Lites, the Notations, the Lost Generation. All carried that same intimate, emotional clarity. If the Artistics captured the feeling of holding on, this next group captured the magic of when something is just beginning. Number 6, The Marquis. The Marquis. The youthful heartbeat behind the early Stax sound. Before the world knew Booker T and the MGs, before Otis, before Sam and Dave became Saturday night legends, there were these kids, barely out of high school, playing their hearts out in a converted movie theater studio in Memphis. The Marquis weren't just a band. They were the blueprint for Southern soul instrumentation. Their 1961 hit, Last Night, wasn't flashy, but it was raw, warm, and deeply human. There's a story that when they recorded it, the studio floor was so uneven, the drum kit kept shifting, yet the groove locked in anyway. That soul, imperfect, alive, breathing. You can almost smell the dusty amps, feel the summer heat drifting in through the studio door, hear neighborhood footsteps outside on McLemore Avenue. The Marquis didn't chase fame. They built a foundation. Their horns, their rhythm, their feel became the house sound of Stax Records. Their legacy is in every Southern soul track that ever made someone close their eyes and nod. If we've come this far together, now's a perfect time to settle in, because the next 5 groups bring even deeper emotion. If these memories and melodies are bringing back a feeling, even just a little, go ahead and give this video a like. It helps keep this music alive for new ears and old hearts alike. And stay with me. We've still got 5 more soul treasures to uncover. Number 5, the Manhattans.
I had to meet you here today.
The Manhattans, New Jersey soul sung with a trembling heart. Formed in the early 60s and built on military camaraderie, these men didn't just harmonize. They confided in their music.
Give my love to your old dad.
Every note carried the weight of letters written home, of distance, of waiting for love to return. Before their later 70s fame, the Manhattans lived in the tenderness of longing. Their early single, I Wanna Be Your Everything, doesn't shout. It pleads, but quietly, like someone sitting on the edge of the bed, hands clasped, staring into the dark.
I never thought you'd stay so long.
Lead vocalist George "Smitty" Smith had a voice that sounded like a heart trying to speak before it breaks. And when he passed in 1970, it was as if a candle had flickered in the wind. Yet the group stayed together, fiercely, lovingly, honoring him with every note.
I've got ties, and so do you.
What makes the Manhattans special is their stillness. Their songs don't rush. They breathe. They allow you to feel everything you've been holding. The letters never mailed, the words never spoken, the ache of love that arrives slowly, leaves slowly, and sometimes returns again.
Please don't stop me till I'm through.
If the Manhattans gave us reflection, the next group brought a certain grace to the dance floor. Number 4, the Esquires, the Esquires. Milwaukee's smooth-stepping harmony makers. Their sound was tight, but not stiff, full of warmth, smiles, and gentle rhythm. In 1967, when they released Get On Up, it wasn't just a dance song, it was joy in motion.
When I'm loving my city, everything is alright.
People still say that when that record dropped at neighborhood parties, the dance floor changed. Suddenly, the whole room was moving in sync, hips and shoulders swaying, eyes meeting, laughter rising like smoke in the summer night air. But what gets overlooked is how refined their harmonies were. Clean, bright, almost effortless. And while some groups soared on radio rotation, the Esquires were a group you discovered live. Sweaty, electric, unforgettable. The band never had the national machine behind them, but they didn't need it. Their legacy lives in movement, memory, and the way a simple groove can bring a whole room together.
Everything is alright.
If that lifted your heart, this next group takes us into deeper emotional waters. Number 3, the Dramatics, the Dramatics. Detroit storytellers with harmonies that felt like confessions. Before they became known in the 70s, these young men were sharpening their sound through the 1960s, rehearsing in basements, church halls, anywhere the echo could teach them how voices blend.
Up to no good. But baby.
Their early recordings didn't chart the way they deserved to, but listen close, and you'll hear everything they would later become. Their song, Anky Dinky Wang Dang Do, may sound playful, but it carries the looseness of young men still exploring who they were.
You're the best thing in my life. Best thing.
Then came All Because of You, where that signature dramatics ache started to show. The kind of song you could imagine playing in a slowly rotating jukebox while someone sits alone in a booth, tracing a fingertip along the rim of a glass. The Dramatics suffered more than their share of setbacks. Label changes, lineup changes, even tragedy. Yet, they remained committed to harmony as storytelling, not just singing with one another, but singing to one another, building emotional tension in layers. By the time the 70s arrived, and What You See Is What You Get finally took them to national acclaim, those voices were seasoned, shaped by years of loving, losing, and holding on.
All was lost today.
The Dramatics remind us that sometimes it takes time for the world to hear the depth your heart already knows. If the Dramatics brought emotional honesty, the next group shaped the very sound of soul itself. Number 2, The Impressions. The Impressions.
Who never wanted the girl he had. She tried hard to make me.
A group admired, yet still not credited enough for the soul of the civil rights era. With Curtis Mayfield's featherlight voice and visionary songwriting, the Impressions didn't just sing love, they sang hope and dignity. This was music for marches, for kitchen table conversations, for quiet courage.
You got soul, and everybody knows.
Tracks like Keep On Pushing and People Get Ready weren't just songs. They were guideposts, calling us to lift our heads, open our hearts, and believe change was possible. There's a story that Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. kept People Get Ready close, calling it the unofficial anthem of the movement. And you can hear why. The melody is gentle, but it carries the weight of an entire generation breathing together.
Open the doors and waters, there's room for all.
Musically, the Impressions helped define the Chicago soul sound. Airy, melodic, thoughtful. Their harmonies felt like sunlight through stained glass, soft but illuminating everything they touched. And their influence is everywhere. From Marvin to Donnie, from reggae to gospel to neo-soul, they planted seeds that still bloom. And now,
Faith is the key to open the doors and boredom.
we arrive at our final group. A band that stayed together longer than almost anyone else, whose harmonies aged like wine, whose legacy is deep and quiet and lasting. Nothing prepares you for number one. Number 1, The Dells. The Dells.
There'll be times when
The quiet giants of soul harmony, whose legacy stretches across 5 decades. Formed in Harvey, Illinois in the early 1950s, they were young men when they stepped into this music, and they never let go. By the time the 1960s arrived, the Dells were not just a group. They were a brotherhood, a circle of voices that grew old together.
my thoughts of you don't have
Their 1956 recording of Oh What a Night was lovely, but their re-recording in 1969 was transcendent. Same singers, same song, different lifetime. You can hear everything they had lived between those years. Love, loss, roads traveled, nights on stage, nights in silence, the laughter, the grief, the faith.
and I will never let you.
Few groups in soul ever managed to age so gracefully, deepening instead of fading. Studio engineers tell stories of the Dells warming up and sounding like a finished record before the tape even rolled. Lead vocalist Marvin Jr. had a baritone like a front porch sermon, steady and full of truth, while Johnny Carter's floating falsetto lifted everything into the heavens. Together, they didn't just harmonize, they created emotional landscapes. The Dells never chased trends, they trusted time. That's why their music still feels like a conversation between old friends. one that only gets richer the longer you listen. From Chicago street corners to Memphis studios, from teenage daydreams to lifelong brotherhoods, these groups remind us of something simple and profound. Great soul doesn't always demand the spotlight. Sometimes it waits to be discovered. Thank you for taking this stroll with me, for letting the vinyl crackle, the harmonies linger, the memories rise like slow smoke in warm air. If this journey touched something in you today, subscribe to keep the groove alive. We've got many more forgotten corners of soul to explore. And when you're ready, click the video on screen. We're heading into 10 forgotten one-hit R&B wonders from 1968 next. Let's keep walking. Let's keep listening.